Hello and welcome. You're watching Bloomberg Quint Live. Let's take a look at how the markets have fared today and what they've done through the course of this week. I'm going to start off with how the days panned out today, and we have seen more gains. About 0.7% gain for the Nifty, with strength coming in Indiabulls Housing Finance, Eicher Motors, Maruti Suzuki and Bajaj Finance. On the losing end, we have Yes Bank. Well, this is especially after we had some more details and data come in on the QIP. Cipla, Hindalco, as well as Tech Mahindra looking weak for now. But how about the broader market? And again, at least as far as the index is concerned, that's moved in tandem with the benchmarks. But we do have the likes of Endurance Technology, quite a recovery, especially after the 20% lower circuit that the company was locked in yesterday. And of course, we also have Future Consumer, Deepak Fertilizers, Suzlon, all advancing by as much as 10% on more. But on the losing end, we do have more weakness for NBCC India, Reddington, Jagran Prakashan, Jamna Auto, SL Pro, all losing out in trade. Of course, to some extent, some of these are losing out on account of earnings. But to take a look at how these indices have panned out through the course of the week, despite the fact that the beginning, that is the first 3 days of this particular week, were very, very volatile, we're eventually seeing the Nifty close in the green by as much as 1%. So we've seen an advance come through the course of the week, and Hero MotoCorp leading the gains here. We also have good gains in Bharti Airtel, HCL Technologies, Maruti Suzuki. And on the losing end, of course, Tata Steel continues to remain under pressure, as is the case for Yes Bank, UPL, and again, Cipla, and State Bank of India among the heavier weights bearing down on the indices. What about the broader market index? What about the NSE 500? That's also advanced by as much as 1%, but Jet Airways looking at an up move of 27%. And G&K Bank, Venki is of course also reacting to earnings there, as far as KEI Industries and Sharda Cropchem are concerned, among others, which have also advanced. Coffee Day Enterprises continues to tumble downwards. Cox & Kings and Time Technoplast, along with some of the other names that we did mention in just a few moments ago, all looking at significant declines. That said, let's take a look at all the events that were very important, that actually set the course for the market. So early on Monday, August 5th, China let the yuan tumble below the crucial level of 7 per dollar for the first time since the financial crisis, and this sent the global currency and equity markets in a tizzy. Back home in India, Home Minister Amit Shah proposed the abrogation of Article 370 of the Indian Constitution and introduced the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Bill. The Rajya Sabha passed both in a record 8 hours. On Tuesday, August 6th, the Lok Sabha too voted to revoke the special status provided to Jammu and Kashmir and to divide the state into 2 union territories, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. And the US formally named China a currency manipulator in a sign of escalating trade tensions between the two countries. On Wednesday, 7th August, in a surprise for markets experts who were expecting a 25 basis point cut, the Reserve Bank of India's Monetary Policy Committee cut the repo rate by 35 basis points. And the MSCI added HDFC Life Insurance to its Global Standard Index and removed Union Bank of India from the Global Small Cap Index. And of course, we are at the end of the earnings season, and for the first quarter of FY20, let's take a look at all the big names that came out through the course of the week. And we've actually had more positive surprises in comparison to negative ones. So we do have Adani Ports, Tata Steel, Ultratech Cement and Hindalco looking at earnings which were good and ahead of expectations. Well, mixed numbers coming in for something like an HCL Tech or Cipla, but also largely in line. Of course, we all know about the weakness expected, the moderation expected in Titan. Britannia, M&M and Indiabulls Housing Finance, on the other hand, were below expectations. That said, let's move on and talk about the levels that we can watch out for as we move to trade next week based on futures and options cues. Options specifically in this case, you have maximum open interest in the 11,000 put, and on the higher end it's the 11,500 call. So it's a 500-point range. We're closer to 11,000 currently, but we're expecting the Nifty to move within this range, at least in the near term. We'll be waiting and watching so how things pan out eventually. That said, let's also take a look at, some of the earnings that we are expecting next week. So on Tuesday, August 13th, we will have Coal India, ONGC and Sun Pharma. Of course, we've already had earnings from Taro. On Wednesday, we will have earnings from Grasim. So these are some of the names that will also be in focus as we move into the final leg of earnings as far as this particular earnings season is concerned. But before we end the show, let's also take a look at some of the events that we can keep an eye on. So we do have Reliance Industries AGM on Monday 12th. Of course, it's a trading holiday, but we do have several earnings coming out that day. And of course, we will keep an eye on the AGM. On Tuesday, 13th of August, we have the CPI as well as the trade data come in as well. And moving on, we have WPI data, which will be released on Wednesday. And besides that, we're also keeping an eye on, of course, the Independence Day celebrations. That is again a trading holiday. So again, we will have a rather elongated, truncated week. That said, those are just a few of the many events that we're going to keep an eye on, and that should, including the holidays, should very well, influence the trade, considering we just have 3 trading days this upcoming week. So we'll be watching out for that. Well, on that note, it's a wrap on the markets, but that's lots more lined up. Stay tuned to Bloomberg.